um, shoot a protester, quote unquote. Um, this person was in their car trying to block traffic when ICE got out of their car and walked towards them, and another ICE officer was walking in front of the car towards them. The lady took off towards the ICE officer that was approaching her uh, from in front, and he opened fire on her. Uh, 3 shots were fired. It killed her. She was 37 years old, a U.S. citizen that had been roused out after whistles were blown at 9:30 a.m. to inform people in the area of East 34th Street and Portland Avenue that ICE was on scene. This is in Minneapolis. She was in a Honda Pilot, and she drove after the ICE agent. She was trying to evade capture by them, but she drove in the direction of an ICE agent. And had he not shot her, very well may have run him over. Um, and if that was all the news today, that would be enough, I'm sure. However, that's just the beginning. So we seized 2 ships today at the same time, 3,500 miles apart. One of them we seized down in the Caribbean. One of them we seized in the North Atlantic. And the one that we seized in the North Atlantic is very interesting. It is the MV Bella 1, or M hyphen V, which I'm guessing stands for Merchant Vessel Bella 1 backslash Marianera, which was a Russian flagged ship that had been invading us for several weeks, invading our naval forces for several weeks. And it gotten into the North Atlantic over by Great Britain. We actually launched the seizure from Great Britain. We dropped off 5 Blackhawks and a couple little birds and took the ship. And it is carrying. It had Russian crew, Russian flagged, and it was carrying sanctioned crude oil from Venezuela. Um, Russian naval vessels were present during this seizure, and the Russian foreign minister is saying that they need to begin sinking our ships. So things could escalate rapidly. Um, and they're calling for their people to be sent home. They're not asking for the ship that is sanctioned carrying the illegal oil. That is very telling. They know that it is committing crimes. The ship is, but they want their people sent back home. But we're apparently going to charge them. That'll be an interesting back and forth. We'll probably end up trading those guys for some U.S. citizens that are in jail over there, or potentially some citizens of NATO countries that are imprisoned over there in Russia. Um, the other ship was the M-T, I'm guessing is merchant transport, uh, or M backslash, I should say, backslash T, Sophia. It was seized in the Caribbean Sea. It was a stateless vessel, which means that it was not flying any flags or had any flags painted on it. So it was not declaring a home nation. Obviously, a Black Fleet member. That's the black market transport vessels, basically, of the world's oceans, which there's thousands of. Run by India, China, Russia, Iran, um, used to be Venezuela. Um, and it was carrying 1.8 million barrels of crude oil. Okay. Now, all these seizures that have been taking place have been getting people worried, and the continued, not necessarily threat, but continued speaking on the Greenland issue uh, by President Trump has gotten the Danish a little upset. And according to the Daily Mail, the Danish Defense Ministry shared or confirmed a 1952 rule forcing Danish soldiers to shoot first, even if their command structure has not informed them that they are at war, or even if they do not know that they are at war. If they see foreign troops doing things that they are not entitled to do. See, the thing is that there's several U.S. military bases on Greenland. So this is kind of an actual threatening tactic, I guess you could say, because anything could be perceived as hostile according to this 1952 rule. Forcing Danish soldiers to shoot first, even if their command doesn't know they are under attack. And 7 NATO leaders stated they will not, quote, not stop defending Greenland. Keir Starmer of the UK, Emmanuel Macron of France, Frank Steinmeier of Germany, Sergio Mattarelli of Italy, Karol Nawrocki, Poland, Pedro Sanchez of Spain, and Mette Frederiksen of Denmark stated that they will not stop defending Greenland. And my position on Greenland is pretty simple. I believe America should be whole from pole to pole, and working on shirts that say just that. Um, I believe Greenland should be considered part of America. Greenland is less than 50,000 residents, and it is strategically and tactically important to the Arctic and to missile interception. Without Greenland, which is the fastest route from Russia to the United States, without Greenland, it would be pretty difficult for us to stop a intercontinental nuclear ballistic missile from Russia. Um, because that is a pretty solid standoff point, being several thousand miles north and east of America. It gives us a much closer reach to Russia. So it's stops, and it would be a good for international shipping. Not to mention that they have tons of natural resources that need to be developed. And the Danish have not been doing it, even though they've owned them for 500 years. So I do believe that there should be a referendum held in Greenland, and if the people wish to become part of an American state, they should be allowed to. And if they're not allowed to, I think we should probably just take it. If the people do not want to become part of America, that's another story. Um, but they're not going to be allowed to sell land to the Chinese or the Russians. Period. You're not going to give them a base to launch attacks into America. You can either sell us the land or you can become a state. But we're not going to let anybody else build there. That's strategic deterrence. Now, the Somali fraud scheme, it's been ongoing. The first news report out about it was from back in 2016. Can you believe that? 9 years ago. And that guy was a whistleblower who'd blown the whistle back in 2015. And still nothing's been done about it. And we know for a fact of at least 9 billion from just last year. Somali fraud has been exposed now in Minnesota, Washington, Ohio, Maine, Michigan, and just in Michigan and Minnesota, it is an estimated $9 billion so far that they've found. And I want you guys to know that Somali nation receives between 1.3 and 1.7 billion dollars from the United States each year when they have a total GDP of $12 billion. So over 10% of their budget for their entire nation comes from people sending money back. The prime majority of that money is coming back from these states that have a high Somali population and are defrauding us. This is RICO. It has been going on for 10 years. You guys are racketeering. You are working together as a gang to defraud our nation, factually. Disproving that will be more difficult. Not proving it, disproving what I just stated will be more difficult than finding the square root of pi. You know what I'm saying? Because it's never ending. I just wish that we had the ability to get the Trump administration to go ahead and come into Illinois and start searching through our records. Because this is chump change. Illinois is one of the richest states in the union, and it is the most corrupt state in the union. Hope y'all enjoyed this, and God bless.